today's stream and slash podcast is brought to you by Michelob Ultra for when you want piss in your mouth, but you don't want to go through the hassle of having somebody naked in front of you.
Or if you're on a low carb diet.
But tell everybody about your week, man. Get into it.
Well, my dog almost died.
That did happen.
And then I tell you what, the veterinary hospital has been fantastic. And for the low cost of a used Camry, I was able to bring her back to life.
That's so insane, man. Like I sent you a text earlier saying, like, if that had happened to Boomer, I'd have been like, ugh. Ooh.
Yeah, that would have been the end of old Boomer.
Yeah. No, I mean, if it was something that I could do, it's like, can I finance this? Can I make payments on it?
They'll finance you. They got the pamphlet at the desk. I'm not even fucking with you.
It's like, oh man, can you imagine if you're like, yes, I want to finance it, and they're like, ooh, your credit's not good enough for your dog to live, so.
It's only funny because it's true.
It is. Oh man, but yeah. So tell everybody what happened with your dog.
It started on Monday night. She threw up a lot, and then she threw up, which is dogs fucking yak all the time. It's kind of their thing.
They do. They're real good at it.
So it's kind of like I gotta clean up puke now.
Yep.
And then we went to bed that night because she threw up at like midnight, and we were just thought that was it. And then we went, and the next day, luckily I had off work already. So on Tuesday, it was a day where we intended to basically, I had to drop my wife off at the airport. I had to drop little Julie off at school to go on a class trip. And, well, not school, it was like Boys and Girls Club. And,
right.
Where she volunteers at. And so it was basically get rid of everybody, take the dog to the vet. Because when we woke up the next day, it was like everywhere. Like her bed is a fairly large bed made of like nylon. Like it's not really nice, but it's great because if you puke on it, it just pools on top versus like sink in and then like go bad. So that was absolutely covered, every inch of it. And then all of the couches were covered in it. And then the floor had spots all over. Like she had just put in work. It was all just
like wrenching everything up.
Bile. Like it was just bile.
And
she's just laying there like, fucking kill me. And I was like, okay. And then my wife stopped me. And then, so basically consisted of clean all that up and take her to the vet, like pretty much first thing. So first things first, I took her to the vet. They thought that it was just that she got into the trash. And they gave her like some anti-nausea shit. They're like, before we go and get all squirrely with it, let's that's probably all it is like she's probably got like a blockage and she just needs to yak it up. We'll give her some medicine. If it doesn't get better, let us know. So they give her some anti-nausea, some anti-vomit, and anti-diarrhea like injections. And that went through the rest of the day fine. She came home and was just kind of hanging around, and they were like, give her like rice and chicken to eat, like real mild shit. And so about halfway through the day, I made some rice and then just put like some ramen, like, what do you call it, broth over the top of it. Like, didn't even add the chicken. Like, I thought that might even be still too extreme. It's weird.
Sure.
She'll eat literally anything you put in front of her, and she was like not interested at all. Like, you would stick it and like rub it on her mouth, and she would just spit it out. Like, she's like, I'm not eating that. And then I just thought maybe her stomach was still bothering her or some shit. So kind of just went through the rest of the day. I dropped the wife off at the airport. Julie got dropped off at like, it was late, like 9:15 at night. She got dropped off at the buses. And I come home and I'm sitting down to actually start streaming a little bit. And I made it to about midnight, and the dog started throwing up again. And it was just water. Because she wasn't eating anything, but she's drinking. She's taking in water. So I didn't really know what to do, so I kind of just called. There's a veterinary hospital just down the road. So I called them, and they're like, it's like, here's the deal. She's hadn't eaten all day. She hasn't eaten since the day before. I think she got into the trash and ate like a bone, and it's stuck in her or some shit. And they're like, what's she throwing up? I'm like, just water. And they were like, is she peeing still? And I was like, yeah, like, you let her out, she'll take a piss. So like, then she's still getting water like in her, like it's being ingested. So she's not like in any like real danger. So like, if you want to just wait out the night, as long as she doesn't have like a seizure or anything, she'll be fine. Just make sure she's still taking water in and pulled out. And like, you're gonna need to be there with her though, so like, make sure. And just like, whatever. So I stayed up till 6 a.m. and every hour and maybe hour 15 minutes she would throw up again. So it was just like all night, like over and over. I went through like 4 rolls of paper towels. Like, dude, I should have taken stock up in Brawny, because we went through it, dude. And so that night, the next day, I went from 6. I went to bed at 6. I woke up at 8 because that's when the vet opens at Banfield. So I called them up, and they're like, yeah, bring her back in like right away and just drop her off, and we'll do some tests and get some shit done. And they're like, it's definitely not a bone. Like, we ran x-rays. That's not it. We did your dog's blood sugar. It should, for a dog, kind of linger right around the 200 mark. And her blood sugar was at 750. And
good.
Her pancreas was like not functional at all. So that's why she wasn't eating. It was because her pancreas was so swollen, it was actually clamping her intestines like shut, and that's why she's throwing up. So they're like, that's not something we can treat here, so you're gonna need to take her over to like, we'll stabilize her, and you're gonna need to drive her from here to there. We've already called them, they're expecting her, like, just basically transport her from one place to the other. So this was now like basically another day in. And like, they held her all day, and that Tuesday night we took her from Banfield to VetMed, which is the hospital she's at now. And I dropped her off there, and because Banfield closes, they're not 24 hours,
right?
And they were like, we'll take her. And so also, let's run the bill up. So the first visit was, I thought was a lot. They were like, it's going to be $230. No, it's like $280. Are you comfortable with that? I'm like,
right.
This is what it is. Like, just fucking, I'm not about to be like, hey, sorry, the dog's dead on my watch when nobody else is here. Like, fuck that. Like, I would never live that down.
Welcome home, everybody. We have one less dog.
We're down to 1. And so paid that, whatever. Next visit was, the dog was all day there, and they ran a bunch of tests. That one was $1,200. Awesome.
Ugh.
And then from there, we took her to the hospital, and the hospital was like, this is going to be 2, maybe 3 days, and we're going to give you an estimate on what that's going to cost. So I'm like, all right, you go right on ahead. And I texted you this bill, didn't I?
You did.
And that was the one where I was like, hey, you want to dry heave? Take a look at this. And basically it was just to admit her. They give us it's going to cost somewhere between these two amounts. And for us to even accept her, you got to pay the low end amount now. And that was, what was it, $3,800, $3,500?
Yeah. It was like 38. It was 38.
Pick one. Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter. So
what's a couple $100? Drop in a bucket.
It really was. So they're like, pay that, and then if she has to stay a third day, you'll pay the higher amount.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right. So thanks, Chase. Appreciate you fronting me on that one. And so paid it, and they're like, all right, cool. But then it's like immediately like, all right, we're gonna go to work and get this done. So, and they're funny too, because they have like visiting hours. Like, you can go and visit your dog in the fucking hospital, and it's like you can go between 9 and 5 or between 9 and 11 at night. So it's like if you're at work or whatever, you can still see your dog.
Yeah.
So we go that night, and she's already like leaps and bounds better than she was. They're like, good news is she's eating again. Not very much, but she's eating.
That's good.
And so there was that. And so we went and visited her. She's doing a lot better, but this was like 2 days in. And it was like the first day I dropped her off, and then the next day, that night, it was last night, we went and visited her. And today we got a call, and they're like, here's the deal. She's diabetic, basically, was the problem. And she is diabetic and has pancreatitis. So they're like, you need to control the diabetes, and then after that we treat the pancreatitis kind of at the same time, but one's going to right itself before the other, and then usually that helps the other one get in control.
Regulate.
Yeah. So it's hard to fight both of them simultaneously. One of them's going to get better, and that'll help the other one get better faster as well. So they stabilized her blood sugar and shit. And I'm pretty familiar with diabetic. Like, my sister was a type 1 juvenile onset diabetic, so like I grew up with it. I'm intimately familiar.
Way. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I'm pretty familiar with the way all that
diabetes works.
Yeah, I understand that they're going to be insulin dependent. Like, her pancreas is shot. Like, it's not going to do anything anymore. So we have to give her injections every day in the morning, and then again at night, basically every 12 hours. And then she has to eat on a regulated schedule now too. So we used to just have a big fucking massive bowl that fed itself. As they ate more, it spilled more out, and they would just eat when they were hungry. But now that's got to go. She's got to have like a specific food that she eats, which is, I'm sure, just every bit as affordable as the food that she was eating before. That's how that works. It's going to
be made of duck and unicorn tears.
Fucking A, dude. It's got the dicks of narwhals in it. But
oh man,
so we haven't had to deal with any of that yet. But it's cool though, because you have to test your blood sugar and see where it's at. Mm-hmm. They used to do it where people, you prick their finger, and on dogs they used to like prick their ear, like grab the ear and shiv it a little bit, and then
they love that, I'm sure.
Oh, they're big fans. But now they basically shave a little spot in your dog, and they put a sensor on her, and then you basically just take this little scanner, and you're like, boop, and there's your blood sugar, like, instantaneously.
So Brandy's like a cyborg. She just got upgraded.
Fuck yeah, dude. She's bigger, stronger, faster.
We have the technology.
We have the technology, but we don't want to spend a lot of money.
That's so crazy.
Anyway, dog's been in the hospital now for about 2 days. Tomorrow will be third. She'll definitely be there. She's either going to come home. We went Saturday night, and she was in great shape. Like, she was running around, running and doing, the dog circle. When they get excited, they spin around. Yeah. She's doing that, and she's jumping up and down and whatever.
That's good, man.
And she's lost a lot of weight. Like, I think she's probably down, like, she used to weigh like ballpark 70, 75 pounds, and she's down to like 60. So she lost a lot of weight, and so her skin's like, she looks like when,
hanging.
You know when like you go on The Biggest Loser, and you don't get like the skin removal surgery. That's
I've been on The Biggest Loser several times, so I'm well aware. Yeah,
you and me both. And so she's a little droopier. She looks like she's a little part basset hound right now, but like you grab her, which is actually kind of handy because when we're giving her the injections, you just grab her by the skin and
easy enough.
In them, and she doesn't seem to mind much. And she's eating again, they said, and whatever. So we went in there last night, and when they were feeding her, I'm looking at them, kind of smelling this food. It's all wet, gourmet shit.
Sure.
I'm like that smell, like that doesn't smell bad.
It's so like I'd eat that.
I know. I said, what are you feeding her? And they're like, it's Danny Moore beef stew. I'm like, oh, good to see where my money's going.
Oh, that's crazy, dude.
So that's my week. Almost lost a dog, but
yeah. So, the other thing that you didn't mention that stressed me out, that like spiked my anxiety, is what was it, yesterday? They're like, hey, we need somebody here by 1 o'clock to talk to us immediately. Like, you have to be here by 1 to talk to us. And you're like, oh, this is not gonna, like, that can't be good news. And I was like, oh god, that's the fucking worst.
That did happen. So
awful. Yeah.
They called my wife at home. I mean, she's back in town, and they gave us the line. It's 12:15 now, and they're like, "We need somebody to be here at 1, and we need to talk to you about your dog." Like, that's excellent news. And then I'm like, I have like three things going through my head. Like, number one is like, you motherfuckers just charged me $3,800 and are now going to tell me how my dog's dead. Like, awesome. And then I was like, my wife is got a little bit of a hothead on her, and I'm concerned for two reasons, because this is going to go one way or the other. Number one, the dog's dying or dead, and she's going to lose her shit over that.
Right.
Two, the dog's fine, and she's gonna lose her shit over that. Like, shit's getting lost one way or the other. And so it's like, the whole time my phone's just, and I'm in a waiting room and I'm just sitting here, and then it's like, you just see her like seething as time progresses. She's like, why the hell did they need to be here at a specific time if I've been sitting in a room for 20 minutes now? I'm like, it's like, you have to be nice to the people that hold our dog's life in their hands.
Right.
You cannot explode on them. Or else like, oops, your dog's fucking dead. Yeah, so it turns out that they were like, listen, the reason we brought you down here is that we wanted to go face to face, so there's no questions or no like miscommunications on how the treatment's going to be at home. Which,
I mean, that makes sense, but they could have said that over the goddamn phone.
Don't fucking leave. Don't leave it like that. So, anyway, Swabrat, welcome to the stream, man. No surgery for the dog as of yet, anyway. Today she did get a plasma transfusion, which was, they called over that. They're like, oh yeah, there's going to be a cost to that. I'm like,
cool.
Like, it's going to be $700, $800.
$1,000.
I thought they were going to say 1,000 for sure. I'm like, motherfucker. It's like, I have a budget of like, this cannot exceed $10,000. After that, it's like, sorry, that's the end of it. Like, we hit the limit. Either you're doing shit pro bono from now on, or you're getting like a little coffee can to put my dog in when you're done. One or the other.
Oh my god.
And that shit better be fucking Maxwell House. None of that Folgers bullshit.
Delgren in my stream is like, at that point, I'd be asking if they work like a garage where if you can't pay the bill, they just keep your car.
Yeah, you can hang on to it.
Oh man, that's a fucking week, dude.
So anyway, dog's
it's good to know that she's doing all right. Yeah, it's good to know she's gonna be okay. Because I love me some Brandy, even though she hates me.
She thinks you're all right after 20 minutes.
Yeah. This is just up to that point. She's like, fuck this guy. Oh man, Yeah, I mean, my week has been less stressful.
Mm-hmm.
I've just had teenagers in my house forever.
That's not less stressful. That's absolutely not less stressful.
Yeah, my oldest is the reason we got such a late start is we were watching The Curse of La Llorona, which was an okay movie. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. But then her and Marie started getting into like paranormal talk and all this other craziness.
Love that shit.
And then got so do I. But then they started getting into religion and stuff, and I'm not religious by any stretch of the imagination. And I was like, all right, well, this went off the rails a little bit, just a little bit. And so we're sitting here, and the movie's paused, and my other daughter, like, it's just Marie and Nani talking, and then my other daughter Lily is like, hey, can we continue the movie? And Marie's like, we're just having a conversation about it. And she's like, oh, okay. So then she just starts drawing and shit, and I'm sitting here just surfing Reddit, just trying to find something to do to kill time and whatnot while they go through. And Nani noticed me, and she's like, Dad, is this conversation boring you? I was like, I just don't have anything to input. Like, there's zero input, zero fucking substance that I can offer this conversation. Let's listen to you guys. But yeah, we went swimming. I took the wee baby Samara into the pool. She loves the pool, and she got a little bit of a tan on her little baby legs and whatnot. And yeah, so it's been just kind of chill, just hanging out here. And so here's the thing that bothers me, right? Is my ex checks in with him every day, because the two daughters that I have here now are from a prior relationship. So she'll call them and talk to them, which is fine. But she's like, "Why are you guys just hanging out at the house all day?" It's like, well, one, I pay $800 a month to you, so that severely limits the amount of things that we can do. And I don't mind paying the money, right? Because they're my kids. But it's like, I can't just draw from that to go expend it out. But second, I don't get them all the fucking time. So, I mean, it may to her just be hanging out at the house, but it's like, that's fucking quality time, you know what I mean? Like, it's time that we're actually spending together and talking. Like, right now, Nana's in the room with Marie watching a movie, and that's stuff that she doesn't do with her mom. Like, she doesn't like talking to her mom whatsoever. So, I mean, those are important things to do. It's not always about the grandiose things like events. Yeah,
you ain't got to spend any money on that shit. Yeah, they just want to talk to you.
Exactly. So, I mean, I got annoyed at it. But I mean, it is what it is. And Nani pretty much said the same thing. She's like, Mom asked why we're just hanging out at the house again, and I was like, it's because it's quality time, Mom. I was like, God, you're a good kid.
God, you're so much better than
you're such a good fucking kid. But yeah, man, that's pretty much been my week since actually been my life since I took off of work, which is that in and of itself is funny too, because I got promoted and it's like 2 days later, I'm off for 3 weeks. Bye.
Hell yeah, dude. All right, let me catch up on my chat here real quick. Rapidash has evidently abandoned you and joined me in your face.
What?
And
Rapidash, you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch, Rapidash.
Swamp Rat, thank you for your follow, buddy. And okay, so Swamp Rat, let me back up a little bit. He says, "My dog Tor
just called Rapidash a traitor."
It's okay. He makes better decisions now, I guess.
Wow.
My dog tore her ACL, and either surgery where it's expensive and could die, or let her limp around. Swamp Rat, odds of your dog dying during surgery are pretty minimal, so I really wouldn't give that too much concern. If you can afford it and it's not going to like destroy you financially, do it. If you can't, it is what it is. Like, don't bury yourself in debt where it's just going to cause a problem later. Like, if either you can or you can't, no one's going to fucking judge you for it.
Yeah.
Unless
so
they're
Boomer,
douchebags.
Boomer the dog, right? He tore something in his knee last Halloween, because we were out trick or treating and whatnot, and we just came back and he's just limping around like a fucking idiot, probably because he was barking at kids and whatnot. Sure. But at the time, Boomer was 10. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Boomer was 10. And he's a boxer, so the average lifespan of a boxer is 8 to 10 years. He was right at the ass end of that. So I went and took him to the vet. They're like, yeah, he probably tore something. We can do an ACL surgery for $1,200. And I was like, I don't know how long he's going to live. Like, how much longer he's got, you know? And it doesn't bother too terribly much. Like, every once in a while he gets sore, but I just give him some glucosamine and whatnot to help. Mm-hmm. And he makes it through. Same thing, he had when he was about 7, he started getting seizures. Not real often. Like, since that, the first time freaked me out a lot, because he just started looking like fucking Michael J. Fox in the middle of the room, was just like, and then just fell over and was shaking, and his eyes looked terrified. Mm-hmm. And it freaked me out, so I just laid there with him and calmed him down. And this fucking idiot, Bloody. Yep, that's him.
Great, now everyone knows where I live.
Yep, they're gonna hunt you down. But Bloody knows Boomer.
I fucking love that dog.
And he is relentless with any of his toys. Like, you fucking picks them up and will throw them at you until you do something with them. And the seizure didn't stop him. Like, he'd have a seizure and then try to get up before it was done, and then he'd try to pick up his ball off the floor, and he's just like like, he didn't have the depth perception to pick it up, so he's just sitting here like 8 inches away from his ball, like and fucking such an idiot. But he had him so infrequently. I took him to the vet for that, and they're like, well, we can get you this medication. It's really expensive, and it may alter his temperament. So I mean, you can do that, but if they're not frequent and they're not affecting his quality of life, because at that point he was also at the ass end of boxer's life expectancy. They're like, it sounds like you're managing it just fine. It's just, you know, it's up to you. You can keep doing what you're doing. And I think he's had like 4 or 5 seizures total. So I mean, they're not super debilitating to him. It's just when they happen, he gets a little freaked out, and then he's fine. But
hey, your stream's fucked up.
Is it?
Yeah, you're streaming nothing.
What do you mean I'm streaming nothing?
It's a blank it's like a blank overlay.
No way. I don't believe you.
That's why Rapidash left you.
Fuck.
He said, I abandoned him.
Oh, I am streaming nothing. God damn it. God damn it. There we go. There we go. All right.
Professional streamer.
Amen. Delcarin's like, I thought that was because of the video issues. Well, thanks for letting me know, man. Thanks for letting me know you couldn't see shit.
It's funny, too, because we were poking funny in my chat. It was like, it says, I abandoned because I can't see you on your stream, Sutty. And I said, I'll let him know as soon as he takes a breath.
Rapidash, you couldn't let me know, man? You had to just abandon me and go to Bloody's stream?
He's like, I lurked, and then came back to nothing.
Man, you son of a bitch. That hurts. That hurts right here.
Should
right
hurt.
There.
Maybe a little bit.
It does. What do we have on the agenda, or do you just want to get right into playing some stuff since we've had a little bit of conversation?
Yeah, I'm fine with. We were talking about. We'll give the people what they want. We're talking about today's big event.
Mm-hmm.
What they've all come here for is we're talking about the icky stories of parenting, like the stuff that people don't tell you about. Everyone talks about how, like, oh, it's so great to mold a life, but they don't tell you about the shit that you're going to have to deal with, sometimes quite literally,
right,
when you're a parent. And we've all got parental stories, so why not share some of those?
Sure.
This is going to be a birth control stream for sure.
Oh man, yeah. I've got so we're doing 2, yeah?
2 each.
Okay. All right. You go ahead and start.
I see
Delcrin, before you start.
There's a child. I see one.
There's a child. There's a child. That's my daughter, Lily. Lily, say hi.
Interactive TV, man.
Yep. Hey, there it is.
Wave of the future.
Delcrin's like, I think that I should earn me some brownie points. I stayed here even though you were streaming an overlay.
Fine looking overlay though, bro.
That is that's 100% fair. You get, actually, as a matter of fact, since you said that, let me go ahead and get in here.
I think I'm just gonna wear my beard like this from now on. What do you think? While you're doing that.
I can't see you right now, so give me 2 seconds.
You are the worst friend I've ever had.
Delcrin, you now have 1,000 Sutty shekels. Sutty shekels are used right now. It's just for roulette, but I mean, further down the line, it's going to be for giveaways and all that other good stuff. But you now have 1,000 Sutty shekels. So congratulations, man, for sticking it out. I appreciate you. Bam. But yeah, feel free. Rapidash came back. Hey, man, I appreciate you. You beautiful bastard.
Bitch.
He probably has 2 tabs open. Yeah.
Or else we're gonna fight later.
Oh, that's good, man. I like your beard like that. You know what would be good is if you ended up just doing a couple braids, like doing mustache braid into there, and then
I do that, and then it takes my length to about like that.
Oh, that's fair.
So I just kind of
got to get some more length, man. That's what I'm trying to do. Been trying to do that for 6 years.
Yeah, I think you're.
Delcrin's like Scrooge McDuck style into the shekels.
He's gonna dive into it and shit.
All right, man, go for it.
So
you're up.
I used when it was before my son was potty trained, so we're still doing the diaper game. And he was slow to potty train because fucking boys are in general. And so he's in diapers and shit, but he was probably like 2 at the time, maybe 1.5 or some shit. So he's old enough to be walking and shit. So he's in this fucking diaper. And we're living in my apartment, the really small one in the relatively horrible part of town. Like if my parents saw this apartment and how I was living, my mom would probably cry for like, well, she'd still be crying now. Like it would really, and then like,
I love your mom.
That's her speed, so whatever.
Yeah.
And Rapidash does have 2 tabs open, so he can live.
He does. He's like, I finally have 2 monitors so I can game and watch it all at the same time.
So this story's quick too. So my son was he had just eaten and wants to come in. He for whatever reason he really liked to jump into my lap. Like he's a lap jumper. And he comes running into my room and just leaps into my lap. Like I'm sitting like fucking like Indian style, like crisscross applesauce shit, right? He comes like careens through the air and just butt first in my lap, and he had a diaper completely full of liquid shit. So when he lands in my lap, this shit goes straight out the sides, like just
oh my god,
it was just exploding like up and out. So it's all down the front of me, it's all over his legs now because it shot out like the leg holes. And it was just, it was, when I say shitstorm, exactly what it was.
That's phenomenal.
It's like,
oh my god,
it. That's the shit they don't prep you for. Like, what do you do when both you and him are covered in feces? You're like,
Rapidash just said, yeah, this just adds more to my list of reasons for not having kids. But
I have a thing for that. I always say, if you don't want to have kids, don't. It's not like we're gonna run out of people. We're good.
It's like, have you achieved every goal that you've ever set out for yourself? Everything you've ever wanted to do, have you done that?
Because
if
you
so,
won't ever do it ever again.
Then have kids. But if you have kids, scratch that shit right off.
'Cause that's done. You will never have. You're not going to own anything cool for roughly 7 years.
Like, and mine is very similar to yours. I after I had split up with their mom, I took Boomer the dog and just like the bare minimum of stuff that I could take, just so their life at the house wasn't different, So I had like my Xbox, my TV, a bed on the floor, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So I was changing Lily. She was 2 at the time, so she had just started to potty train. So I had her in a diaper and went to go change her. And I remember this was my first time in an apartment with a dog. So I was like, man, I really hope I can take care of this place, get my deposit back, So I'd been doing a really good job of taking Boomer downstairs and whatnot. And I was changing Lily. And I went to go grab another diaper, and then I turned over and just liquid shit all on the carpet, like just everywhere. So Lily was the first one to shit on the carpet, as opposed to Boomer the dog. So long story short, I didn't get my deposit back for that apartment. It just didn't happen.
They just blacklight it, and they're like, nope.
Yep. It was. You didn't even need to blacklight it because it got down to like the mattress or the pad. So it's like, no, I went in with like a shop vac and the Stanley steamer thing, and it looked good right when you did that, but then as it dried, it's like stain.
Yeah.
It's like, cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, they just walk in, they're like, nope. So I debated on what to do with my second story. Was it going to be another? Was it going to be a puke story?
Yeah.
But right as we were talking, though, I'm like, nope, I got it. So this one is same apartment, same rough time. So we didn't live in a good neighborhood, so we couldn't go outside and play because my neighbor had just been stabbed. Like that's like where we're living. There was a nice, like there was a playground area, but all over the slide it said like North Side Hustlers and like,
of course it did,
East Side Die, stuff like that. Like,
yeah,
it was scary. So, and the pool was like, I never saw anybody in it, so I can only assume you get in it and just immediately die. So we're like, all right, so we're gonna avoid that. So we just kind of fucked around in the apartment for like a week. Well, it was just the weekends. So he would come over and whatever. And for one day, in my bed, I didn't have a bed. I had an air mattress. Like, we're fucking slumming it. And one day he's doing this game where he was gonna climb up on my chair that I had at my computer desk and then jump off of the chair, and then I catch him. Like it's a game we've all played. Usually it's jump off the bed, we catch you off the bed, but my bed's about this far off the floor, so that would suck.
It's not as fun.
Yeah. So one day he's kind of eyeing that chair like, yep, we're doing this. I'm like, nah, buddy, like I'm laying down in bed still because it's like 7 a.m. And on a Sunday. I remember Sunday specifically. So he's like, fuck it, I'm living my best life. So he gets up on the chair, and without me looking, gets like off the chair and just knee to my sack, like
oh god,
square on, where I'm then immediately doubled over and just laid out, right? He thinks that's the funniest shit he's ever seen. So when kids do something that's amusing, what do? They do it again.
They do it
again. So again, now I'm, instead of like half asleep, I'm quite awake, but I'm still quite pained. And off he goes again. Hits me in the same fucking testicle a second time. It was so bad that the next day I was still like, I can't fucking breathe right. Like, you know, like when you get hit in the sack and like goes up into your armpit and shit, you know, this like,
just radiates through your whole body.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was the next day still like that. So I'm telling a buddy of mine what happened. He's like, you need to call a doctor, dude. Like, that's not normal. I'm like, yeah, I think you might be right. So I go home, I leave work early, but call my doctor, and he's like, I'm booked the rest of the day, but can you come in first thing tomorrow? So I'm like, hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah. I go to the doctor, and he's like, he was my favorite doctor I've ever had. He looks at me and goes, we can do this one of two ways. One, I can give you some painkillers because I know you need them. Or two, you can whip it out and I'll take a look at it and then give you painkillers. And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, let me just say this. It's not going to be the first sack I've seen today. I'm like, all right, man, why don't you go ahead and take a look at it just to be sure? And he's like, so he's doing this, you know, and he's kind of feeling around. He's like, oh yeah, you got a lump on here. Like, it's like,
Oh God.
I'm injured, like, for real. And he was like, he's caused trauma to like your testicular tubing, and it's like the shit that like connects your beanbag to the upper portions of your insides. He's like, that is like an acorn in there. And he's like, that's not supposed to be like that. And he's like, that's got to come down and stop swelling, or we're going to have to operate. And I'm like, you can just kill me, doc, because we're good here. I don't think anybody'd even be upset about it. They'd be like, I understand.
Had a good run. Had a good run.
Like, to the sack twice. You know,
Oh Christ!
14 gun salute at that funeral. And I mean, and then I'm calling my mom, because that's what you do. That's what I do anyway. Anytime something comes up like that, I'm like, Mom, James hurt my sack bag. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, he kneed me twice in the sack off of a chair, and now it's all swollen and shit. She's like, this is when she's still living in Illinois, right? She's like, do you need me to come there? Like, do you need me to fly in? I'm like, maybe.
Oh man.
So, she's like, okay, I'm gonna look at ticket prices, you get back to me. I'm like, hold off, let's give it a day.
Maybe I'm being dramatic.
Like, let's see how this is gonna go, and then if it's necessary, I'll let you know. Because I'm not gonna lie, dude, when it comes to like sack trauma, I'm kind of a pussy.
Anybody is.
Yeah.
Nobody likes getting punched in the sack.
Oh.
Luckily, mine is like, I have the balls of like an 85-year-old man. So at this point, it would be like, it would be like punching a curtain. So I don't think you could really do any damage anymore.
Like, you can catch golf balls in it.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm not so worried about it anymore. But I get it. So what ended up happening? I mean, obviously you're okay.
All's well that ends well. Like, it went down on its own.
So for my second story, I really debated. I had two stories that I could tell. One's a bit longer, and it's the one that I'm going to go with. But an honorable mention is the time that Leilani, she was a daredevil. Nani's my oldest, she's 13. But when she was little, she liked jumping off of things and onto things. So we had a glass table that she just decided to climb on top of and just do one of these where she's like, and just plop right down. And I saw this from the stairs, so I dove and caught her. But in me diving and catching her to make sure that she didn't fall through the glass table, we both fell through the glass table. And and I ended up seeing a whole bunch of blood on her, and I was like, oh my God. But it was me. It was my blood, because my hand had gone through the table first. And going through glass isn't like in the movies where you just break it and then it's done. Wherever you hit, that's getting cut open, like a lot. Yeah. So I had cut. I was checking her, and she thought it was the funniest fucking thing in the world, just laughing her ass off.
Daddy's dying.
So, but I end up looking, and I had cut open my pinky, and it was bleeding everywhere. But I had to go to work, so I put a butterfly bandage on it.
That's duct tape, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And my hand that ended up swelling up like real bad. So I was like, oh, I think I just need to relieve some pressure. So I opened up the wound a little bit, and blood shot, like squirted out into the, like, away from me. I was like, ooh,
How'd you open it? Did you use like an X-Acto knife?
No. It was a butterfly bandage. So I just took the butterfly bandage off and just kind of, boop, just kind of peeked it open, and then went. But that's that one. And I ended up just continuing to butterfly bandage it. It healed. But the one that I'm gonna get super into was, again, it's a bit longer.
I'm waiting on the people in my chat. I'm trying not to interrupt. What's up, Corman?
No, you're good. Hi, everybody in Bloody's chat. So this one, Nani was 3. So Ilani was 3 at the time. And we lived in this town called Tracy. And at the time...
Yeah, Tracy, California, where
Tracy,
hopes and dreams go to die.
So at the time, in the same town that we lived, there was a little girl that had gone missing. And nobody knew where she was, and they were like doing searches for her body and whatnot. And at the time, at the time, they still hadn't found her. She ended up getting killed by her babysitter. But at the time, nobody knew where she was, right? So I went to go put Lily to sleep because she was a year and a half at the time. So I went up, and Nani was just sitting down watching TV and playing with her Legos and whatnot. I got Lily to sleep after about 20 minutes, came back down, and didn't see Nani there. My ex's parents were living with us at the time, so I was like, oh, she's probably just with her grandma. So I was like, hey, have you seen Nani? Is she with you? She's like, no. I was like, all right, she probably went in her mom's room. So I went upstairs.
This is my favorite story you tell.
Yeah, is it?
Yes.
All right, so I went up and went into mom's room. I was like, hey, is Nani in here with you? And she's like, no. I was like, so internally, I start panicking a little bit because I don't know where this little girl is, and I've gone through every room in the house. I'm like, okay. Shut the door, and then I go downstairs and I open the front door, and I look out, and everybody in the neighborhood is just at this point in time out on in their front lawn and shit, and just looking down the street. I'm like, these fucking assholes just watched my daughter walk down the goddamn street by herself, and nobody stopped her. So my ex comes down, and she's like, you don't know where Nani's at? I was like, no, I was putting the baby to sleep while you were being worthless in the goddamn room. And
jeez.
I mean, I didn't say that at the time, but that's what I was thinking.
And you guys didn't work out?
No. Our air conditioner went out later, and all the truth came out, and that's what ended that relationship.
Oh, okay.
But we all of us were searching. We were yelling. We're like, Nani. We're turning over like toy bins and stuff, and like, Nani, where are you? Blah blah blah. So I ended up going down the street looking for her, down where everybody was looking down the street for her, or where I thought they were looking down the street for her. And I was panicking because this other little girl's missing in the same town that we live in. And it's not a big town, like by any stretch of the imagination. It's tiny. So I'm walking down, and I see this guy on the street carrying a trash bag, and there's no like homes where he's walking. So I'm like, why the fuck is he carrying a goddamn trash bag? And it looks like it's big enough to hold my daughter, like it's in the shape of like a child could be in there. And I wasn't gonna gamble with he's probably just whatever. So I sprint faster than I've ever run in my entire life. I'm just like, bah, 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 and I'm not a small man. Like, I'm a big dude. So, and I'm running faster than I've ever run in my life. And I'm like, hey, motherfucker, drop the goddamn bag. What's in the fucking bag? And I'm running at him, and he's just like, oh. And I rip the bag out of his hands, and then I open it, and it's just trash. So then I just throw it down and then run away, like run to like continue my search. And we called the cops and to report her
Cops is filmed on location with the men and women of law enforcement.
missing and whatnot, and we're super worried. And then 10 minutes later, her grandma calls me. It's like, oh, she's home. And I was like, what do you mean she's home? So just come here, we'll tell you, whatever. And they tried to tell the cops, like, hey, we found her. They're like, no, where was she? Like, fucking the cops needed more than just, oh, she's here. Like, you had a child go missing. So they had to tell her the whole story, which is what I'm about to say right now. So I get home, and Nani was under this impossibly tiny pile of blankets on the couch. And the only way you could see her, and it wasn't blankets actually, it was a towel. The only way you could see her is if you went in front of the couch and knelt down. You just see her little tiny body just curled up and asleep and shit. And she didn't hear us fucking yelling for her at all. Just was like, well, if you're not gonna fucking put me to bed, I'm going to bed right here. And fucking, so I couldn't be mad, you know, because she's just fucking like, I'm tired. Fuck you. Laying down. So I picked her up and I was like, oh God, like, oh, if you only knew what you just did to me. And then I tell that story a bunch, and then I always think at the end of it, like, I wonder what that guy thought on the street.
How do you think he told that story?
How does he tell that story? It's like, I was just taking out my goddamn trash, and this fucking crazy person rips it out of my hands, looks at it, and then throws it back down and runs away. Like, I don't know what was he on? But yeah, so that was the highest level of panic I've ever felt in my entire life.
That's parenting right there.
That's parenting. So, yeah. Kids. Fucking kids.
No reason to have them.
Oh, man. Good times. So I think that's it, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll fucking say goodbye to the good folks and the podcast. So
why don't you do your long ass fucking winded goodbye here?
Well, I've drank significantly less, so it won't be super long winded. But what I want to say is thank you for everybody that views us and whatnot, and we really appreciate it. And whatever you have going on in your life, no matter big or small, if you're stressing about anything, just know that there are people around to help you, and that if we bring any relief to you whatsoever, that's part of the reason why we do this. So thank you so much for coming down. And that's it for me. Bam, go.
Bye.
You're such a son of a bitch. Oh, you son of a bitch.
Watch it with the cursing. You got a young one behind you.
Yeah. Hi.
With the cussing. The bad talk.